You are listening to the Space-Tastic Mysteries podcast. We are in week 17 of Anna Gale Line's latest novel, The Lightyears, involving a Mobile Alliance surgical hospital battling an epidemic at the front lines of the Freedom Alliance Crimson Fleet War. This is episode 17. Help is on the way. If you have not subscribed, do so now, and if you are on YouTube, hit the bell to be notified of new episodes.
I have to admit that was mighty impressive. The way you went toe-to-toe with him. You had me convinced you have the goods on him. Did you not hear me? I do have the goods on all of them, and I have the cure, once the chip is decoded. Even if you don't get it decoded, you were very convincing. I rolled my eyes and said with grave deliberation, Fireball will come through. Once we get it, we have to find our way out of here because he is going to try to kill us to get the chip. Drew agreed. Yeah, I get that feeling too. Just then my QuanPad chimed, followed by the decoded information from the chip. I backed it up and sent it to Graham and my attorney, who would send it to the people on my list if anything happened to me. I studied it for a few moments before gasping. Oh my lands, if this is true. If this is true, this changes everything, and it makes so much sense. Jake demanded, looking from me to the QuanPad and back again several times. What makes so much sense? I showed Drew and Jake the information that our friend Fireball decoded from the chip. Just then I felt the building shake, followed by a series of several explosions. The echo seemed so loud in my ears that I feared I would never have full hearing again. We have to get out of here. They are trying to kill us. The only problem is I don't know how we are going to get out of here. There are too many twists and turns and hidden rooms. Just then there was a huge explosion as the building started to collapse. We searched corridor after corridor for a way out. We felt the walls and ceilings crashing in all around us. I saw my life flash before my eyes as I felt as if I were an accordion being squeezed until the very life seemed to drain out of me. The levels above me crushed me into the growing rubble below. This was it. I didn't know how I would get out alive. How I would get back to my children, to Jake. Would he survive? Would we both? What would happen to Zariah? As I closed my eyes, unable to keep them open any longer, I heard Adam's voice, help is on the way. You will all survive. I didn't know how that could be true, but I also knew that I probably lost the chip in the rubble, making the mission for naught. I did not know if the information transferred to Graham before the explosion. I only knew that this was not the first time they tried to take me out and would not be the last. As long as I kept in, my mind became muddled. I could not think clearly before I lost consciousness. No, urged Josh, go back. It is not your time to join us. I am not sure I have a choice. Help is on the way. But what kind of life is that going to be? Zariah will have to take care of her disabled mother. You are going to be fine. Yes, you will have broken bones, and there will be a surgery, but nothing that is not fixable. Our children, Adam's children and Zariah need you. The only constant in their lives. And you need to repair things with Jake. Don't let your fears prevent you from being with him. You know you married me to keep him safe, but you and I came to love each other. I only want what is best for you and the kids. All of them, and you are not betraying me by marrying him. Thank you, but I don't know how I am going to get out of here. I know you said we would survive, but have a little faith in miracles and that those who have plotted against you will receive their just rewards, at your hands, in this case. I don't know if I have any faith left. I had faith that we would save you, we didn't. I had faith that we would find Jake, and we did, but I feel like things are never going to be right with him. I had faith that I would make it as a doctor and commander, and I did, but now, look at me. Josh insisted, everything is going to be okay. Hold on, help is almost to you. Is this good help or bad help? Is this help that is going to help me live? Or help that is going to make me wish I was? Danny, live again. You have not been living. You have been responsible, going through the motions. Start living and have a little faith. Shish, I've got you, someone said in a soothing voice as they pulled me out of the rubble. Every inch of my body hurt, ached as if I had been run over several times by a semi-truck. What seemed like only a few seconds later, I opened my eyes slowly to see that I was in the hospital, on the Lightyears. Patrick stared at me. I heard the Diane monitor beeping on one side and my IV gulping on the other. Don't you have anything else to do besides stare at me? I am still the commander of this vessel no matter my state. And is it respectful for you to stare at me as if I were a science experiment? Did you know that you are infected with the disease? He questioned. I clamped my eyes shut for a moment. Even that hurt. I opened them again. Yes, I knew. Yes, I know I have quadrupled the amount of it in my system. I know that the protocol will stop working in 3 months. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Yes, I tried to have you and Dr. Riley removed from duty due to your extensive injuries. It is going to take a long time for you two to recuperate, but Graham denied my request. He knows that even in whatever condition we are, Dr. Riley and I can run circles around any surgeon in the operating room. That might have been true, but it will never be again, Patrick advised me. A hint of amusement played on the edges of his lips. I looked to Graham and said with grave deliberation, "Can you tell me what is going on? No matter what condition I am in, I am still the commander of this vessel, and I still deserve respect instead of disrespect and arrogance. I need a doctor who is not going to revel in his commander's misfortune." I turned back to Patrick and stated with grave deliberation, "The fact that you counted me out will only spur me to find a way to prove you wrong. You are underestimating me and that will be your downfall." I returned my eyes to Graham. "I thought you might feel that way, which is why I am bringing in the doctor who did your surgery," Graham decided, putting his head out the doors to call her in. "Captain, you can return to your patients." "But I am the acting commander," protested Patrick, heading to the doors. "We will talk about that later," Graham advised him, motioning toward the exit. As Patrick left, a blonde woman entered. She looked like a Barbie doll with her honey blonde hair swept into a high ponytail. Her body, thin, with a well-endowed chest. She stepped up to the end of my bed. "Hi, I am Dr. Amanda Winehouse. I was called in because I am an android. You, Dr. Riley and Dr. Morgan had broken legs and spinal injuries. I was able to repair the broken bones with a new infusion device and restored the spines. Dr. Riley has burns on his face that we are waiting to heal, and your right hand has been severely damaged. It is going to take surgery from a doctor who specializes in this type of injury and a lot of physical therapy before you are going to be able to perform surgery with it again." When she caught my face drop, she came around the bed and sat on the edge of it. "Will you do me a favor?" "What is it?" "I have been experimenting with a bionic arm that fits on top of your real arm and connects to your nerves, causing it to work as your arm would. It would allow you to perform surgery. I have used it on other patients, but none that would be using it in surgery. I want you to test run it for me in real-life simulations. If it allows me to perform surgery again, yes. It will until your hand has a chance to heal. It is going to take time to get used to it. I will bring it and the simulator to help you practice getting used to it in a couple of hours." She looked back to Graham and then at me again. "I am staying on board until you and Doctors Morgan and Riley are recovered." "Can I use the bionic arm, Graham? Is that giving me an unfair advantage?" "How is it an unfair advantage?" questioned Amanda, tilting her head to study me. "It is not able to perform surgery on its own. It is reliant on your skills and knowledge as a surgeon, and it will take time to master it, so I fail to see how it can be seen as an unfair advantage. What is the difference between this and glasses in those who are sight-impaired or canes in people with a limp?" "I wouldn't have allowed her to come in here with that idea unless I passed it by Leonardo and Ruland," Graham advised me. He cleared his throat. "However, there have been a great deal of complaints since you have been gone about the doctor who walked out of here. I will be reassigning him, and will be reassigning Zebby to the Lightyears as your first mate and partner." "What about Jake?" I questioned, raising my eyebrows. He put his hand up. "I am not reassigning him. All our best doctors that won't let their egos get in the way of patient care need to be assigned here, but you and him knock heads a lot, and it is clear where you two are headed. I want to try this out for a while. Jake will have a partner, Victor Sambino. He is one of my engineers, isn't he? Has a wife, Ella, daughter, Isabel, and son, Isaiah. Has been in the Freedom Alliance 15 years. Exactly, that's him. Zebby's been wanting to serve under you again, and I think you can use a buffer between you and Jake. She is non-medical, which will be good for when I have to do long shifts in the hospital. I think this is going to work out better for everyone. But you need to solve this case first. I could have. The chip I had with me. It had all the information on it to solve this case. From what I understand, it had the solution. But now, I tried to send it to you before the explosion. The file was encrypted. I sent it to Fireball to decode. He has not gotten back to me on the one I sent him either. Is he okay? Graham looked at me and asked, Are you? How can you say that he has not gotten back to you when you have not checked your QuanPad in hours? Yours was destroyed in the explosion. We had to issue you a new one. I had your information from the Intergalactic Information Network downloaded onto it. Maybe he answered you, and you have not looked at it yet. The Clue Club wants to have a meeting tomorrow if you are up to it. Of course, I am. You need time to recuperate, Amanda interjected, patting my hand, but I will permit you to attend the meeting via your hospital bed. I know how much the IIB work means to you. I promise I will keep it quiet like I do for Jessa. I would appreciate it if you would permit Dr. Riley to be moved in here, or at least, let him visit before that meeting tomorrow. I need to discuss something with him. You going to profess your everlasting love for him, he quipped. I narrowed my eyes and shook my head. No, I love him, yes, but I want to talk to him about a compromise that I think would satisfy him and me. What is it? Graham questioned, coming over to my side of the bed. He sat on the edge of it and asked, Maybe you should run it past me, as your friend and as a male, to see if I think Jake would agree with you. I answered, I normally would, but, in this case, I want to speak to him about it before I mention it to anyone else. Graham nodded and insisted, But I am still your friend, and if things don't go the way you are hoping, I am here if you need to talk. I appreciate that, I responded, patting his hand, but, in this case, I know that Jake would be absolutely livid if I discussed this with you before him. He nodded. He does have a jealous streak, especially when it comes to you and me. I love you as a friend, but I love my wife and kids. They are my world besides work, of course. I get that, but Jake doesn't. Graham wondered, tilting his head to the side. You have to be laid up in here for at least a few days. What can I bring you? Can you have Dr. Weinhardt bring the bionic arm and simulator, so I can practice with it? I want to be good at it before I need to use it in surgery. I will do that, Graham assured me, standing. I am here for a few more days, so if you need anything, just let me know, and I will have them bring Jake in here. Then he moved out the doors. A few hours later, orderlies pushed Jake's bed into the room while I worked with the bionic hand and the simulator on the adjustable overbed table. What are you doing? Jake asked, pulling himself into an upright position. I am performing surgery on a simulator. I am surprised Patrick didn't tell you my news the way he told me. Although he would be violating HIPAA if he did that, but I suspect he would do it anyway. I know that me and Drew had broken bones that the android doctor infused back together. We really need that machine. And we had surgery on our spines. All of that is true, but as Patrick put it, my hand is too damaged to ever perform surgery again. Oh no, Danny, I am so sorry. You must be devastated. I know I would be if someone told me I could never perform surgery again. Then he gave me a sidelong glance. But you said that I was performing surgery on the simulator? I raised up my hand. I have on another one of Dr. Weinhardt's devices on, a bionic arm, and it connects with my nerves and allows me to perform surgery. I have to have surgery on my hand, and there is going to be a lot of physical therapy before we find out if I can perform surgery on my own again. What does Graham say about your bionic hand? He said it is okay for me to use it since it cannot perform surgery on its own. It needs my skills to do the actual surgery. I thought he would have agreed because he and you are extremely close. I have to admit that I am jealous of the way you two just seem to get each other. I get that, but he is never going to leave Bree, Mitzi or Presto for me. He does not love me like that, and I don't love him like that either. Nor will I ever.
If you would like to learn more about Anna Gale or to purchase her fiction and nonfiction books, go to AnnaGaleLines.com. That is ANNAGAILLYNES.com. Right now you can buy 3 ebooks and get the 4th one free. There you can sign up for the newsletter to keep up to date on what is happening in the world of the Anna Gale Lines podcast, where she inspires people to take control of their lives, and her science fiction podcast, the Space-Tastic Mysteries podcast. To follow her on social media, it is Anna Gale Lines on Twitter, Lady Anna Gale on TikTok, Anna Gale Lines Artist on Instagram, at the Anna Gale Lines podcast on YouTube. You can join the Facebook page at Author Anna Gale. Thank you for listening and thank you for being you.